if you were told that a Coast Guard vessel modified from a top-tier destroyer platform is currently patrolling the waters around the Diaoyu Islands and neighboring countries, after confirming this fact through technical comparisons, feel not only a visual impact, but also a gap in industrial capabilities. How would you view the evolution of modern maritime law enforcement forces? Recent meticulous image comparisons by Japanese media have confirmed a fact drawing regional attention. China's Coast Guard ship 2503 operating in the waters near the Diaoyu Islands is fundamentally based on the Type 052D destroyer design. This type of law enforcement vessel, converted from a military warship platform, is unofficially referred to as the Type 501 Coast Guard ship. Using a destroyer platform designed for distant sea operations as the foundation for maritime law enforcement is a rare case globally. According to public data, the 2503 measures approximately 150 to 155 meters in length, 18 meters in beam, and has a full load displacement of about 5,000 tons. Compared to the original Type 052D destroyer, it carries roughly 2,000 tons less combat loadout, yet retains key design features such as its overall hull profile and propulsion layout. Japanese media reports highlight that the vessel's appearance markedly differs from traditional law enforcement ships. Regarding propulsion, external analysis suggests the 2503 likely inherits the Type 052D's diesel-electric hybrid power system. This configuration enables not only high cruising speeds but also exceptional acceleration performance. Such propulsion advantages hold tactical value in rapid maneuvering scenarios for interception or positional control during law enforcement operations. 4 sensor systems. A top-mounted 3-coordinate array radar is installed atop the bridge mast. While this configuration is lower in tier than the original phased array radar, its detection capabilities remain highly effective for maritime law enforcement applications, enabling efficient monitoring of surrounding maritime activities. Seaworthiness and habitability are critical metrics for offshore law enforcement vessels. The 052D's hull design was originally engineered for extended deep ocean operations, with stability rigorously tested. The superstructure of ship 2503 incorporates additional portholes, improving internal lighting and ventilation to enhance crew comfort. For prolonged offshore patrol missions, a favorable living environment helps maintain personnel readiness. In terms of armament, the 2503 retains a single 76mm rapid-fire naval gun at the bow, along with 2 630mm close-in weapon systems, CUs, and multiple heavy machine guns. This firepower configuration represents a high standard for law enforcement vessels, sufficient to handle diverse maritime law enforcement scenarios. Additionally, its helicopter deck area has been expanded compared to the original Type 052D, enabling it to accommodate larger helicopters. In the future, it could also operate alongside unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, for surveillance and rescue missions. On February 10, a notable maritime encounter occurred in the waters near the Diaoyu Islands. That afternoon, Japan Coast Guard vessel PL-201 entered the relevant waters and encountered a formation comprising China Coast Guard ship 2503 and 3 other enforcement vessels. On-site footage revealed a marked disparity between the two sides in terms of tonnage, size, and equipment. The Japanese PL-201 vessel, having served for a longer period, is smaller in displacement, creating a visual contrast with the size and technological configuration of the 2503. According to Japanese reports, the Chinese Coast Guard formation conducted accompanying surveillance of the Japanese vessel. The entire process lasted approximately 2 hours, after which the Japanese vessel departed the relevant waters. The China Coast Guard subsequently issued a statement, indicating this was a lawful patrol operation to uphold maritime rights. Japanese media conducted a detailed analysis comparing the Coast Guard vessels of both nations. They noted that Japan's 2 largest Coast Guard ships, the Fukushima-class and Akitsushima-class vessels, though slightly larger than the 2503 with a displacement of approximately 6,500 tons, are diesel-powered with a maximum speed of about 25 knots and primarily equipped with 20 to 40 mm caliber machine guns. In contrast, the 2503 vessel utilizes gas turbine propulsion and is equipped with a 76 mm naval gun, creating a stark contrast in both power and firepower parameters. A Japanese military commentator wrote in a column, "These are not opponents of the same caliber. This is the difference between a destroyer and a patrol vessel." From a broader perspective, China Coast Guard patrols in the waters around the Diaoyu Islands have become routine. Data shows that in 2025, the Coast Guard conducted patrols in these waters for 357 days, achieving near year-round coverage. Since 2026, consecutive patrol days have exceeded 70. This high-intensity presence signifies a substantive shift in the governance model of the relevant maritime areas. The appearance of the 2503 vessel is not an isolated incident. It made its public debut during the 2025 Justice Mission 2025 exercise, conducting joint drills with multiple Coast Guard vessels. Its recent coordinated deployment with ships like 2502 and 2304 in the Diaoyu Islands waters indicates that 5,000-ton class Coast Guard vessels are entering a phase of routine deployment. Some analysts suggest that more vessels of this class may enter service in the future, forming a scaled-up law enforcement force. This trend of developing law enforcement vessels based on naval platforms reflects the maturity and mass production capabilities of the shipbuilding industry. The hull platform of the Type 052D destroyer, after years of batch production, has established a stable production line and mature supply chain system. By removing high-cost components like phased array radars and vertical launch systems while retaining core navigational performance and platform stability, law enforcement vessels can be rapidly constructed at relatively controllable costs. While some nations still convert outdated fishing vessels or cargo ships into law enforcement craft, or must purchase them at high cost from abroad, this mature warship-based construction model demonstrates a differentiated advantage at the industrial system level. Notably, this shift in the balance of power has begun influencing regional behavior patterns. According to Japanese media reports, around the time the 2503 class vessel conducted patrols near the Diaoyu Islands, the Japanese government privately advised its fishermen to avoid operations in the surrounding waters to prevent clashes with the Chinese Coast Guard. Japan Coast Guard officials personally visited fishing associations, urging fishermen to avoid operations near the Diaoyu Islands if possible. Such interventions were uncommon in the past, reflecting regional actors' growing recognition of the shifting power dynamics. From an equipment perspective, the Type 501 Coast Guard vessels fill a gap in the tonnage range. China previously possessed 10,000-ton vessels like the Type 2901 and Type 3901, but deploying such large ships incurs high costs and appears overkill for routine patrols. Conversely, 3,000-ton vessels were slightly undersized when facing Japan's 6,000-ton Kashima-class patrol ships. The 5,000-ton Type 501 effectively bridges this gap, offering sufficient displacement to confront larger adversary vessels while featuring superior propulsion and firepower configurations. This strikes a favorable balance between cost-effectiveness and operational flexibility. Endurance and self-sustainment represent another critical metric for distant sea law enforcement. The 2503 vessel inherits the large-capacity fuel tanks and optimized hydrodynamic design of the Type 052D hull, resulting in superior fuel capacity and operational efficiency compared to standard law enforcement vessels. Estimates suggest its endurance exceeds 6,000 nautical miles, enabling continuous maritime operations for over 30 days. This capability allows extended deployment in distant waters, reduces the frequency of port replenishment, and enhances effective control over disputed maritime areas. This trend of developing law enforcement capabilities based on naval platforms raises a thought-provoking question. What implications would arise for regional maritime power dynamics if larger destroyer platforms were similarly modified in the future? Should the Type 055 destroyer platform undergo comparable conversion to build a 10,000-ton Coast Guard vessel? What scale and presence would such a craft achieve? This may represent an evolving trend warranting sustained observation, reflecting the global tendency toward blurring boundaries between maritime law enforcement capabilities and naval forces.